Hi! Um, I decided to vlog because it's my last night here. This is actually more for me than it is for anything else. I'm not even sure I'm gonna post it. Um, I realized today when I was at the, hold on, let me turn this TV up, or at least lower the volume. Oh. Oh my god, this is really hard. Okay, at least I got it quiet. So basically, I went today with my mom too. Love my shirt too. It's like so appropriate. Fucking vibes. So today I went with my mom to her therapist to try to understand. She wanted me to understand where she's coming from, whatever, dealing with everything. And it was really, I think, I don't want to say useful, it's the word, worthwhile. I'm at a loss for words. It was a good session because I think, I was able to give input on what I see between the two of them, in addition to her story and his story, because there's always three sides to every story: his, hers, and the truth. And not so much that what I'm saying is the truth, but it's not from her perspective with her emotions or his perspective with his emotions. That's coming from someone who cares about both of them and just genuinely wants to see everyone get along as best they can and deal with the situation. But I did realize that doing these vlogs, even though I don't know that anyone's even watching them or whatever, but just me getting it out into a diary type forum has helped me so much in kind of understanding how I feel and summarizing how I feel, because by doing this once and talking about it to whoever's listening, if no one's listening, at least I rewatch it and listen 20 times. My fiance listens and she understands, and if my friends don't understand what I'm going through, I could send them the link and they can just watch it and understand rather than me having to reiterate it 20 times. But besides that, even it's an outlet for me just to turn on the video and talk, not think about writing something and erase it and whatever. I just talk. And unless there's like, the only time I ever edit stuff is if like it's a bad angle, or like the other day I was like trying to show my outfit and I realized that like, oh, I looked a little chunky in it, so I literally snipped that out and like picked up right. I think you could probably even tell when I was like, my dad said get ready real quick, and I was like, and I threw on some and got ready real quick because there was a cut in it and like whatever. The only time I ever edit anything is not because I'm trying to change what I'm going to say or change my mind on something, because it literally just comes from my heart. And if I rewatch a video and think like, oh, maybe I was a little bit emotional and too rash or too raw for my personal capability of being able to share my feelings, if it's too much, I will 100% just delete it and try to make it again with less emotion, because I don't like to cry. I don't think I've cried at all on the vlog, and I really don't want to, because I really try to kind of keep it together. I cry, not that that's right, but I cry in the shower, I cry alone, I scream into pillows, I punch punching bags, I do whatever I can to let out this aggression, because when you're grieving and when you're sad, there is so much aggression that you bottle up, and sometimes it gets taken out on the wrong outlets. I take it out on my fiance a lot, and I feel horrible because it's not her fault. It's not the lady at Walmart's fault that I yell at because it's almost 10 o'clock and she wants to close her dressing room, and I think that should be able to try on one more bathing suit or whatever. You know, it's just, we're human, we're all human, and we're all trying to adult as I was a kid growing up, I thought that my parents had it so together. I thought my aunts and uncles had it so together. Grandparents so together. And as I look back, my grandparents have had it together, but parents didn't have it together. This is my mom and real dad, before even my stepdad was in the picture, who are now divorced and had a horrible marriage. My aunt and uncle, she cheated on him with the postman, of course, so cliche. They're still together, but have their struggles. My other aunt, who I don't really have much to do with, I found out had an affair with my father, my real father, not the father that you've seen in the videos, not the father that's sick. That Dennis, I call him Bubsky, is my stepfather, but he came into my life at 12, adopted me at 14, and was every bit a dad, paid for college, was there emotionally. Not to say that my real dad wasn't. Sometimes he wasn't, but he was a lot of the time too. So it's just a bonus. I had two dads. One of my dads, my birth dad, was not always capable of being a responsible adult. Doesn't mean he didn't love me. You know, he always showed me he loved me. But sometimes at 16 years old, 15 years old, I'd be having to drive him back from parties or whatever, drunk, intoxicated. Well, I was intoxicated because he gave me stuff to drink at 15, which, I'm not saying that it's wrong, but it just is illegal, and I shouldn't have had to drive him and whatever. My stepdad's been the dad that's always been consistent. Not just a friend, but a disciplinarian and a dad and guidance. And now it's really hard because he's just, and I'm really trying hard not to cry, but he's just unraveling. He's changing. We went to therapist today with my mom. I think that might have helped because I shed some light to her on just what I've seen from their conversations and what he's told me. And, you know, he's going to resent her because she's the one that told him he had Alzheimer's. But she doesn't approach certain things with the best delivery. And, like, for instance, even told the therapist, he orders a beer, like I said on my vlog the other night. That started issues. She asked the waitress the alcohol content. I said to the therapist, it's degrading to him. Instead of doing that, she can easily Google it on her phone and then maybe say to him, instead of, you're not supposed to have something with that high of an alcohol content because of his Alzheimer's medicine, say, Bubsky, what's we call him, Bubsky, Dennis, whatever, you said you'd be our designated driver. If you drink that one more, then we have to call an Uber. So can you come through with your promise? That's all you have to say. And he would be like, okay, sure. Maybe he'd give a little bit of pushback, like, oh, I could have a drink, it'd still be fine. But it's better than putting his business out there for the waitress and grandma and grandpa or whoever else at the table to hear. And the therapist agreed with me and explained it to my mom in a context that she would understand, and she agreed, and hopefully she'll work on that. Just about being kind to each other. And I know it's so hard. It's easier for, everyone says like, oh, I get to leave tomorrow. I've been here 7 days. I get to leave. I get to be away from it, even though it's still heavy on my heart because I hear my mom cry. I hear my dad call me crying, thinking she's making shit up and he's not really sick. And it's hard to be away because I can't gauge it, but I can. I get to go home tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to getting off my plane, seeing my fiance, giving her a huge kiss. I miss her so much. And having situations like this when your significant other is your biggest support. I text her and we talk, and she happens to be a therapist, so she has great suggestions and whatnot, but she's not here, and it's different when the person's there with you. Not saying that she's not here because she doesn't want to be, she wants to be, but she has to be at home working because I'm here and I'm not working. And if someone doesn't work, then we can't pay our rent, we can't pay our bills, we can't pay health insurance, we can't pay, there's so many things that, you know, she really picks up for me so that I can be able to visit and do these things. I work for my mom, so I'm flexible in that, like, degree to that extent, whatever. But there's only so much work that my mom has because she has a certain amount of clients. She's an accountant, and I handle part of the work, so the work's there that's there. She didn't ever have a full-time employee. She had a part-time lady, so I get part-time and I fill in with other things. Hopefully I'll be able to find other work, but it's just literally one day at a time. I start to think of all the things I have to do. I start to really get overwhelmed. I feel like right now, like my chest is just tightening up, and maybe I'm rambling, but I felt like I really just needed to get this out, because where I started with all of this is that when I talked to the doctor today, which was more for my mom, but just shedding light on things, I had a much better handle of what I was feeling because I've already discussed it on my vlog or whatever, just regurgitated it, gotten it out, and I've rewatched them as I'm editing videos and whatnot, and then I guess get a better handle on the main issues. And as I was talking to the doctor, I felt so articulate, and just, it was much easier than normally. I'd get anxious and feel like I'm missing something. I didn't even have to take note. Normally I make notes when I go to a therapist of like what the points I want to hit, and I didn't have to do that because I feel like vlogging has allowed me an outlet to get it out. And as I watch it, and as I say it first and then watch it and edit it and whatever, I really get a good handle on the certain points that are more important than others in the set. Everything's important, but when it comes to dealing directly with the person with Alzheimer's, it's important to focus on things that we can't change. The past, he might not even remember the past, he might not remember tomorrow, but we focus on saying, I'm struggling, you're struggling, Dad, and let's acknowledge that we're each trying our hardest and make this a positive thing and work together and make memories and enjoy what we can, rather than what my mom's been doing. Not that she had malicious intent, but she's freaking out because she's 58 and her life is now going to be 3-4 years and her husband's going to be gone, at least mentally. And so all we ever talk about is the disease. All I ever hear about is negative things. So doctors working on getting my mom to change that to positive things. So let's stop talking about the negative and start talking about how we recognize that you're struggling, we're struggling. Let's work together and minimize the struggle. And I leave here with a very heavy heart. You know, my mom said we came in on a good note. We had a good dinner. There were a lot of bad things in the middle within a week, but you're leaving on a good note. And I hope that, you know, we'd had pizza and had a few drinks and had one of my best friends, who's also a close friend of my mom, came over tonight with her husband, and it was all of us together. I wish my grandparents would have come, but for some reason my mom's isolating from them. Maybe she doesn't want them to know how she really feels. I don't know, but I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow, have breakfast with them, and head to the airport. And I'll update you guys when I get to the airport. I actually have a few phone calls I have to make to friends of my mom's who have texted me saying, please call us when you can. We know there's something wrong with Cheryl. I don't have cell phone service up here. I only have Wi-Fi because we literally live in the woods, as you've seen from the videos. I showed you the drive up to her house and all that great stuff. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. I think that was my last upload, or the upload of anything from North Carolina. I think the past 3 uploads have been all like my vlogging and when I'm feeling, but also I put in the middle like pictures of the Blue Ridge Parkway and Appalachian Mountains and different wildlife that are around, because we really do live in an awesome place. And I really hope that in August, when my fiance and I come back, it will be more of a fun vlog of things we're doing, and we love arcades and playing the claw machines and just stupid silly kid stuff that makes us happy. And so I'd love to tape like just different restaurants we go to, and we love to try new things, and the arcades we go to and bars and whatever, and like we're both obviously lesbians together, and so, you know, maybe a taste of nightlife. I kind of want to turn this into a reality show. Like, not reality show, but like clips of my life, vlogs of how I'm feeling. I do have major depressive disorder. I deal with a lot of stuff in addition to this family crap. And I like to just get my feelings out there because I'm sure there's so many other people that can benefit from this. Maybe give me input, comment, like my stuff, subscribe. I'll subscribe back. I'm really just looking for support right now. I have very few people my age who have gone through the loss of a parent. A college roommate did unexpectedly at 19, maybe 20. And I helped her, and she's doing her best to help me, but it's different when you, I don't know how to explain, a cancer diagnosis, which my dad has had cancer as well. And we thought we would lose him then, and he went through a trial study, and so far things are holding, and that's great. But Alzheimer's is different because they're not going to necessarily die in 3 years. They're going to be here, but they're not going to be themselves, and they're going to be dicks, and they're going to personality change. It's not just about dementia and forgetting where you are. It's about lack of empathy. It's like dealing with, like, on the autism spectrum, like, kids with autism or people with autism don't have certain capabilities. Like, that's what we're dealing with. We had someone who was a certain way, and now we have someone else, and he doesn't recognize that there's a change. And he thinks that he realizes he has the disease, but he thinks it hasn't hit yet, or that everyone gets old and forgets things. So it is a lot. I'm sorry if I was rambling. I'll try to put together a vlog tomorrow when I get to the airport, like when I'm alone and can pull my thoughts together and don't feel like I'm rushed because someone's listening or whatever. I hate thinking that, like, my dad can hear. It's been a really hard trip. I'm so ready to go home. But I'm glad that I could be here for my family. And I love them with all my heart. And I hope that anyone else that's going through this, I'm here if you need to talk. My email address is sbmuse@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. I will respond, and we can exchange ideas, and maybe you can give me some insight. Maybe I can give you some insight. If you like these vlogs, I work really hard. I'm very anxious, and I'm a self-conscious person, and I am putting myself out there. And if you benefit from them, or you just like to watch me, or just laugh, or you just think I'm funny, you're an idiot, whatever, subscribe, hit me a like. It all helps, guys. Just trying to get the word out there. We all have to live and help each other live. One love. Good talk.